Allow me to take you on a journey. A little over a year ago, I was here. While I was there, I was listening to a song called Man of Constant Sorrow. My friend that I had made there was making a massive playlist of hundreds of songs and was asking for recommendations, and I offered Man of Constant Sorrow. He told me he knew that song and that it was from one of his favorite movies, Oh Brother Where Art Thou, by the Coen brothers. I had never seen or heard of the movie before, despite being a film major, but I promised to watch it at some point in the near future. I didn't watch it. 4 months ago, I joined a mythology class, for reasons I will not disclose, but we'll assume that they are fueled by aggression. 5 weeks into the class, we began reading a small little children's book called The Odyssey. I liked the book because I had read Rick Riordan's book of similar story called Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters, which basically borrows Odysseus' journey with a modern twist. About 2 weeks ago, at my neighbor's house, I noticed that they had a copy of the movie, and I asked to borrow it. That's right, it was actually free. I didn't steal it like a handbag or a house! By complete happenstance, I find out that Oh Brother Where Art Thou is based on the Odyssey. And by better happenstance, I can use it as a topic for my mythology final. So now that I know the Odyssey, and I have seen Oh Brother Where Art Thou, I am going to tell you all the basing and how similar they really are. In the Odyssey, we have Odysseus. In O Brother Where Art Thou, we have Ulysses. Odysseus' crew is similar to Pete and Delmar, Ulysses' prison buddies. After Troy, Odysseus and his crew set out for home, similar to how Ulysses, Pete, and Delmar escaped from prison. Odysseus lands on the island of the Lotus Eaters, similar to Ulysses, Pete, and Delmar stumbling across a congregation next to a river. Odysseus' crew eats some of the food on the island of the Lotus Eaters, similar to how Pete and Delmar want to get baptized. Polyphemus, the Cyclops, who kills some of Odysseus' men, is similar to Big Dan, the one-eyed backstabber who kills Pete as he is a frog. We'll get to that. Circe transforms Odysseus' crew into pigs, similar to how Pete gets turned into a frog. We came back to it. Odysseus meets Tiresias, the prophet, in the underworld, similar to how Ulysses, Pete, and Delmar meet a blind man who prophesizes about their future. The sirens in the Odyssey are similar to the sirens in... their music is really good though. Odysseus has to choose between facing Scylla or I don't know how to pronounce it. Similar to how Ulysses, Pete, and Delmar have to decide between facing the fire or the cops outside. So they choose the lesser of two evils, and they escape. Odysseus' crew kills the sacred cows on Helios' island, similar to how George kills cows for fun. The Phaeacians welcome Odysseus when they recognize who he is, similar to how the crowd cheers for the Soggy Bottom Boys. Odysseus sneaks home in disguise and kills all of his wife's suitors, similar to how Ulysses disguises himself to get closer to his wife. In the end, Odysseus gets back together with his wife, similar to how Ulysses they might, they could. Do these two stories have similarities? Yes. Are the stories similar? Nah. But that's not my point. Remember how I started this video with a story? That is my point. Stories. Myths like the Odyssey are stories that are so good that they got told over and over again for thousands of years that we still know them today. Hell, even the hero's journey, a template for other stories, was created from the Odyssey. Oh Brother Where Art Thou will surely be forgotten with enough time. The song Man of Constant Sorrow will probably last longer than the movie. I mean, I knew the song before I knew the movie, and I'm still listening to it. But that doesn't mean O Brother Where Art Thou was a waste. The Odyssey inspired the Coen brothers to write a story and make the film. Their motivation, of course, was profit, but the inspiration was still there. A myth is a good story that stands the test of time and inspires future generations with their own stories. A story created today, yesterday, or even last century might one day become a myth. Only time will tell. And time has a funny way of never talking.